joins us on the line from Westminster. Morning to you.
Good morning.
What do you know that the Prime Minister and her advisers appear not to know?
Well, we haven't got a deal at the moment, and it's clear from the rhetoric coming from both Brussels and Dublin that they are so far opposing what the Prime Minister has suggested in terms of pragmatic arrangements to deal with the Irish border.
But you and the DUP are veterans of negotiations. That's what happens in the last days of a negotiation. People talk about how difficult it is, and eventually a form of words is found, surely.
Well, I hope that is the outcome. We certainly don't want a no-deal outcome. But I think that we are right to warn Dublin that if they hold out, if they continue to be the roadblock to try and frustrate Brexit, then there are serious consequences for their economy if we end up with a no-deal scenario. And we have the European Union effectively creating a hard border, because it will be they who will take that initiative to protect the single market, where we have situations that mean Dublin is paying more, a net contributor to the European Union, and where their exports to the United Kingdom have tariffs imposed upon them. Is that really what Dublin wants? I think we're right to warn the Irish government that continuing to be a roadblock to prevent the UK from getting the kind of deal that would be fair for everyone doesn't make sense for them.
Well, you say they are a roadblock in Dublin. All they're saying is this, isn't it? They're saying, look, if you are having a guarantee that there will be no new border controls in Ireland after some sort of deal, it can't have a time limit by definition, because it wouldn't be a guarantee, and you certainly can't have one side having a unilateral veto. Isn't that common sense?
If that was what the backstop was just about, then yes, it would be. But it's not, of course, because the backstop is about effectively annexing Northern Ireland from Great Britain in terms of tying it in to the single market, separate from the rest of the United Kingdom. And the Prime Minister has made clear on numerous occasions in the House of Commons that no British Prime Minister could countenance such an outcome.
Well, you're calling for the legal advice that the Prime Minister receives to be made public this morning. Now, as you know, legal advice is almost always kept private. Why do you want to see it published? Is it that you don't trust the Prime Minister to tell you what's in it?
No, because I think it's in the public interest that we understand fully what is happening here. And we've had that commitment already from the government that they will tell us clearly what the legal advice they have is in relation to the backstop.
But that you don't want them just to tell us, you want them to publish the whole thing.
Yes.
I just put it to you again, that's because you don't trust the people involved.
No, it's because it affects the whole of the United Kingdom, and therefore it shouldn't just be the Democratic Unionist Party that see this advice, or the government. If the House of Commons is going to have a meaningful vote on a deal that includes and upon which this legal advice is very, very important, then I think people are entitled to know what that legal advice is.
Isn't the reality that we tend to hear blood-curdling rhetoric from the DUP? I mean, your leader talked about her red lines being blood red. Somebody briefed a newspaper saying that the reason you wouldn't blink in negotiations is because you'd had your eyelids cut off. But when push comes to shove, you vote with the government. You just voted for the budget when the Chancellor found a bit of extra money for Belfast.
Well, actually, the money for Belfast was promised in the confidence and supply agreement, so it wasn't just something that emerged in the budget. We voted for the budget because we believe, on balance, it was a good budget for the United Kingdom, and that is what motivates us at the end of the day. And if we think a deal, a Brexit deal, is not good for the United Kingdom, we will say so. We'll be very clear about that. The one thing you won't accuse the Democratic Unionist Party of is not being straight talking. We are straight talking.
You'll say so, but will you vote against the government even if that triggers a general election?
Well, look, we want the deal to be in the best interests of the whole of the United Kingdom. That includes Northern Ireland.
Is that a yes or a no to triggering a general election?
Let's see what the deal is. We're not afraid of a general election.
Well, you know that the Tory whips, they're saying privately, aren't they? There is no way you would risk putting someone who used to be very close to Gerry Adams of Sinn Féin into number 10. You will not risk giving the keys of Downing Street to Jeremy Corbyn?
Well, it won't be the decision of the Democratic Unionist Party to do that, with respect. But I'll tell you what, I'm quite happy to go to the people of Northern Ireland on the basis that we voted against a deal because it was not in the interests of Northern Ireland. It would have resulted in Northern Ireland being annexed from the United Kingdom. We are unionists at the end of the day. We want the United Kingdom to stay together, and we are not alone in this. There are many in the House of Commons, including the Scottish Conservatives, who don't agree that the kind of proposals that Dublin are pushing are good for the United Kingdom, never mind Northern Ireland. So we want a good deal for the whole of the United Kingdom that we can support in the House of Commons.
Sir Jeffrey Donaldson, thank you for joining us.